stands out about them?
I mean, they're just balanced top to bottom, extremely well coached. I've known Coach Maisie a long time. They're here for a reason. And, you know, when you've coached a long time and you've been blessed to be in these games, the common factor is everybody's good. Everybody's usually has an elite player or two, and they're balanced offensively, and they're pretty deep on the mound. So that's, you know, really, they're just a good balanced club.
Coach, do you have any specific way about dealing with Derek Clark? Any specific approach you're going to give your hitters? Complete game last week, and it only took them 101 pitches to do it.
Yeah, you know, the ACC prepares you for anything. We feel like we face pretty much every type of pitcher. That's the great thing about playing in a league like ours. So, I mean, we'll have an approach for sure. And we will use that approach. And we'll just, sometimes you have to change the approach in the middle of the game. But what I tell our guys this time of year, you're more important than what you're getting ready to face. Go in there and be confident, keep your rhythm, and you know, we're going to be on the attack like we always are. You know, he's going to be on the attack. He's good. But we've faced a lot of really good arms throughout the whole season.
What's your pitching plan
Tomorrow?
for the whole series?
Are they throwing Clark tomorrow?
No, except, what is your?
Do we know who they're throwing?
Clark.
They are throwing Clark? Okay, we're throwing Sprague. That's our
Was that
plan.
dependent? Was that dependent on?
No, I just,
Oh, okay. All right, I got you. Might have withheld a little bit. I got you. Scott, on Clark, how is he able to do what he does and not let his size be a detriment?
yeah, you know,
From what you've seen.
yeah, he's got a quick arm. He hides the ball. He's got some deception. He can throw 3 pitches for strikes, and he can throw the ball where he wants to. His fastball's got a little ride to it, as they say now, but it's got that late life. He can go up in the zone when he needs to. He's ultra competitive. He's very athletic. So, you know, 3 pitches for strikes. It doesn't matter if you're 6'6", if you're 5'8", 5'7". You're going to have a chance to be good and keep hitters off balance.
Coach, you go through that monumental game on Monday, and obviously, you know, it's just a few days ago. How do you handle, you know, going from that moment to this moment, you know, with the worries of, you know, emotions and letdowns or
Yeah.
things like that?
Yeah, we have a 24-hour rule. You know, tell our guys, like, enjoy it for 24 hours. It's gone when you wake up. And we've stuck with that, and they've bought into that. And it was an emotional game, too. So, honestly, when I went to bed really late Monday night or Tuesday morning, I thought, okay, we'll probably play Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because that's how it works. But then right before I started dozing off, I was like, nah, that'd be too easy for this team. And this team, they don't know what easy is. So we'll probably go Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I started mapping that out in my mind. But I think it's good for these guys. This time of year, they want to play.
Right.
They want to play games. And again, that's the great thing about playing in our league, you know, and you have to play Wake Forest in that game that decides who goes to the next round in front of 9,000 plus. You have to be able to have that 24-hour rule either way. You know, I tell our guys, if you lose, you got to get over it in 24 hours. If we win, you got to get over it in 24 hours.
I think you appreciate it more, Coach, the fact that you're here because how close it was.
I tell you what, I appreciate it more every year. You know, you're supposed to mature more the older you get. And we talk about wisdom all the time. You know, I really don't think I understood when I first got back here how hard winning is. And now in college baseball, the challenges, just like every other sport, the transfer portal, consistently having a chance to be in the postseason, compete for a championship, it's hard. And to host a regional, to win a regional, and to have a chance to play in a super regional, I appreciate it, to answer your question, now more than I ever have.
You've obviously been to this level before. West Virginia's making their first trip in school history. There was a time when you guys, or you were making your, you know, what were the obstacles you had to overcome?
Can't tell you those. You know, I talked to our team about it. I think that's a little bit overplayed. You know, the first time is the first time. You don't forget that.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, you know, every team is different, and you have to coach that team based on what you have. And you know, anytime, I'm sure for them, they have obstacles, we have obstacles. But this type of year, as a coach, you really don't have the obstacle of having to like worry about your guys being ready. It's not like you're in the middle of the season. Everybody knows what's on the line. Everybody's going to play as hard as they can. And, I think both teams at this point in the season, the biggest obstacle is just being able to control your emotions.
With Weatherholt for West Virginia, in terms of how to approach him, I mean, obviously he had the big year last year, and then he's dealt with injuries this year, and so he's just maybe just now kind of getting back. When you look at how to approach him, is it what he's doing now, or hey, he did this last year, so maybe we gotta, or is there maybe some kind of line in between on how you?
Yeah, you definitely approach them. You have guys like that in our league. Nick Kurtz, and you name them.
Right.
Every team's usually got a guy like that, and you have a plan. It depends on how many of those guys they have, which depends on what your plan is going to be against him. But he's a heck of a player, really balanced hitter. So we'll have to have that plan and stick with that plan for sure.
Was the decision to start Shea just a product of wanting to give Jason an extra day of rest since he played Monday?
Yep.
Coach, I'm sure you saw the TV viewership numbers for Monday's game, nearly 1 million people breaking the record for ESPN. I mean, how excited are you about just the upward mobility of college baseball just as a television product?
I mean, it's awesome. I grew up obviously loving sports, and I loved at the time the big three, football, basketball, and baseball, and loved watching baseball, loved watching football, loved watching basketball. But college baseball, just in front of my own eyes, to see its growth has been unbelievable, and to see the growth here has been unbelievable. And again, that's a lot of that is having good kids that fans want to come see, but to see the viewership was, I didn't know. I got a bunch of texts from family members that said, man, y'all were breaking records. I was like, well, I don't think we broke any record yet. But then I read the tweet and I thought, wow, that's phenomenal for college baseball. And I think it's going to continue to grow. It's an awesome sport. It's one of the bigger events if you are fortunate enough to make it to the College World Series. So I thought that was cool.
Scott, the decision to start Sprague, I know it's made with confidence, not just because of the pitches DeCaro threw, but because of his makeup, starting against Burns in the ACC tournament, starting against Holman last weekend. What is it about Shea that does give you the confidence, like, hey, we'll roll him out there first?
Yeah, just not afraid of the big moment at all. Competitive. We feel like we've had two guys that have been equal, so it really didn't matter which one pitched first. I'm excited for him. He matched him. He threw really good against Holman. Kept us right there, so he deserves the opportunity, and he's going to be ready for sure. So, once DeCaro, we decided to use DeCaro, it's an easy decision.
You got many more ticket requests that the university did than you had seats. And even there's some Ramsville folks who won't have seats. And I know there are logistical challenges, but would you be in favor of adding bleachers beyond that outfield wall or something like that to make it the capacity larger?
Yeah, we can just add a $20 million renovation. That would be phenomenal. But yeah, I think, I don't know, we got to find it. Yeah, of course. I think that's really, really cool too. Dave told me about that. And again, that's what we need here at North Carolina. And that's why you work so hard to be in this position, to be able to host and have a chance. Being a national seed's hard too, but you do know if you can find a way to win that regional, that you're going to host again.
How important do you think it is to get some length out of your starters this week, especially when last week, they weren't able, to get 5?
Yeah, you always want length. But again, 3 days for a reliever. I know Dalton Quote threw a lot, but he also had a day in between when he threw. So those guys, if they had 4 days, I'd be a little bit worried about them, honestly. Those relievers, those 3 days is about perfect for them. So when you get down to this, it is important. But it's a bonus when you have a bullpen like ours and you have 4 or 5 guys down there that you're really confident in. That third time through the order, the stats are the stats, and you have to go with your gut as far as the starting pitcher, how he's looking, because those bullpen guys, just numbers-wise, the numbers are better.
With the rise of synergy and the amount of data that you have access to now, is it a little bit easier for you to prepare for a team and a program that you probably just have a passing acquaintance to?
It's way easier. I give our coaches the hardest time because I remember sitting in the old ESPN and taking that little red, thing and going back and trying to slow it down. It took 3 hours to do one game. Now you can watch one player's at bats and 15 minutes and feel pretty good about them. But again, the most important thing is how we play. But it is easier because there's more out there. I went home last night and went to our bonus room and typed in West Virginia on the ESPN app, and I watched the game against Dallas Baptist, and I watched the game against, I think it was TCU. So you can watch them a lot quicker, that's for sure.
Even with TrackMan and everything else that's really fine-grained detail, do you still pick up things from just watching a game?
Yeah, that's where we break it up among our staff, and I like to watch games just to see how they play, see what they do in first and third situation. I mean, you can pull that stuff up on True Media and Synergy as well, but when you watch a game, it's like being there in person. You can pick up on some different things, the emotions that certain players have. So I'm old school in that standpoint. I'll watch one more 9-inning game tonight because it really kind of just relaxes me. So I just got to figure out which one should I watch. You think West Virginia was Penn State? They beat them bad though, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to watch that.
We have time for just a couple more.
Scott, when you're 2 wins away from Omaha, do you take that out of the message because you're so close, or do you, I don't know, reinforce it more? How does the factor that you're right here where you can almost taste it affect just what you're telling these guys?
We actually talked about that, on Tuesday when we met. And I asked the guys, what was our goal in our first team meeting? Connor Bover was sitting right there and said to win a national championship. I said, okay, so our goal is not to get to Omaha for a vacation or a party. Our goal is to win a national championship. We got that out of the way at our first meeting. And then we just started talking about more than ever this year, okay, let's don't talk about that. Let's talk about how we're going to do that and do that every single day. Again, is it the process? Yes. Is it the same thing that some other coaches do, especially Coach Saban? Yes. But I believe it works, and our players believe it works. So I just said, hey, everybody knows what's at stake, but we got Tuesday. We need to concentrate on Tuesday. Then we'll have Wednesday, then we'll have Thursday, and same thing. That really helps our team. We talk about 27 outs, focus on playing every individual pitch instead of looking at that scoreboard or thinking about the results and that type of thing.
I noticed you didn't dogpile on Monday. Is that a decision the team made that you don't want to dogpile unless you win the super regionals, or are you worried about injuries? Or what's the dynamic there?
We really didn't talk about it. I don't remember dogpiling even in 06 when we won the regional here. We might have dogpiled against Florida Atlantic that time because we didn't know what else to do. Or
There's been some dogpiles.
probably in regionals,
There's
yeah.
pictures of the first ball.
I remind the players, the only thing I say is like, hey, whatever it is, nobody needs to get hurt because we know what our ultimate goal is. And I never forget, Florida State had a pitcher. I don't remember what his name was. Maybe Blair Barnes. I don't remember what his name was, but he dogpiled towards ACL right before they went to Omaha. So I've always been paranoid about that. Like, okay, let's celebrate, but try to. And I've been on the bottom of one of those when I was a catcher at North Carolina Western. I couldn't breathe for 3 minutes, so I can remind the guys of that.
How similar is the preparation leading up to a super regional compared to just regular weekend series kind of in the regular season?
It's a great question because it's the exact same because you play weekend series the whole year. It's way better than preparing for a regional. The longer I coach, I think the regionals are the hardest thing to win because you got 3 opponents. You don't know for sure who you're playing the second day. You do all this prep and then you don't play one of them. So it's the same. We approach it the exact same way. We're trying to win this series. We'll manage it that way. And because at the end of the day, if you win the series, you win the super.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, Coach. Casey.
Have a great day.
Do people vacation in Omaha?
Yes.
So are you good?
That's what we say, go out there for a vacation.
Somewhere in middle America.
Again, is it a big vacation spot?
What's going on, Casey?
I guess
It's Casey Cook. Look at this.
yes, I guess. Pretty much.
Same name as my niece. Have a niece, Casey Cook.
Casey, what was the range of emotions from the 8th when you were behind and thinking that might be your season to the 9th and the 10th?
Yeah, I mean, it felt like just the way we've been playing, like the game against LIU, that we were going to do it. But it got to a point where innings started going by and we're like, all right, it's going to happen next inning. All right, it's going to happen next inning. And then it got to a point where it's later in the game and it's like, all right, now it has to happen. So I would say it was a swing of emotions. We were we were confident the whole game. I didn't feel anyone being tense really the whole game. It got to our last opportunity and we were like, okay, well, now it's now or never. So I would say there was a little bit of swing of emotions, but we were confident. Like I said, we've been in that situation before, so that helps.
Casey, when you see that nearly 1 million people tuned in on TV to watch you guys in LSU on Monday, the most of any regional game on ESPN ever, I mean, what does that make you feel?
I mean, that's unbelievable. It's not something you think about when you're in the game. You're so locked in. So even all the fans, I mean, you hear how loud the Bosch gets, but obviously you're focused on the game, so you're not really thinking about it. But after the game, hearing that, it's like, wow. I mean, that's really why you play. You play to play in games like that with that many people watching. So that was unbelievable when I heard that news.
Casey, have you and any of the hitters done any specific prep looking forward to Derek Clark?
Yeah, I would say we've done some work tailored to him, but he's nothing we haven't seen before. You know, we've seen lefties that have pitchability before, so I'd say the work's nothing new. It's stuff we've done before, but yeah, we definitely prepare for him.
Is there
Anybody in
pitcher
the
you
ACC?
faced? Yeah. I think so. Any ACC pitcher you faced who he reminds you of?
I couldn't pull out a name, but he's like a Shea Sprague, honestly. And we faced him in the fall, so we talked about that with Coach Wiersbicki. It's a similar profile to Shea. He mixes well. The velocity is around the same, so we can go back to remember at bats against Shea Sprague, and that probably resonates the best with us because we faced him a good amount of times in the preseason and fall. So I would say that's probably the only name I could pull, and it's kind of funny that he's on our team.
What's your approach going to be like at the plate against a guy like him?
He's just a guy you can't really cheat to fastball. He doesn't throw hard enough to really blow it by you, so that makes it a little bit easier. But those guys are tough to hit because they mix really well. So I would say just almost pushing the ball back, making decisions a little bit later, and because the second you try to catch the ball out front and hit homers, pull balls, you start throwing changeups and sliders, and you swing over top of them. So I'd say it's almost doing less against a guy like that will help you be more successful.
Casey, on Sprague, what is it about his makeup that gives you confidence in him in these huge postseason starts that he's had? Chase Burns in Charlotte, Holman last weekend. Like, what is it about him that gives you the confidence?
I mean, it's just the time after time he goes out there and competes. And, I mean, you can see the first time he gets thrown in there, he battles and he competes. And that's tough to do, when we go through an injury and we need someone to step up and do that. And he did that, and then he continued to do that throughout the year. And if you just look back on all his starts, he gives us a good 5 to 6 every single time. And that gives us a lot of confidence as hitters when you have a guy rolling out there that even if he doesn't have his stuff, he's going to give you 5 to 6. So it takes a lot of pressure off us, and at this point of the year, it's good to know you have someone with a track record like that because you at least know they'll give you a shot. And if they do have their stuff, then they might give you a really good shot.
Casey, you were talking about going through that game on Monday and how you guys have been in that position before. It's still obviously a pretty emotional moment. And then what's the process from flipping the page from that moment to when you guys are getting ready for this weekend?
Yeah. It was when the final out was made, it was exciting. It was a relief because we got through that regional where, I've never been in a, more stressful regional in terms of every single game. We never had a secure lead, but it's so much more gratifying to win those games after they're done. And I would say it is over now. So, as fun as that was and as happy as we are to win that, it doesn't really mean anything to us going forward. We can pull some confidence out of it, knowing that we've been there before, and like I just heard Coach saying, or he actually told us earlier, it helps to go through games like that because you can always go back to them. So you say this isn't new to us; we've been here before. So I would say for the most part, it's over. You want to forget about it because you're focused on the next game, but at the same time, it's like okay, we know we've been here before, and we've been here multiple times in high leverage situations. So I would say our focus is on the next game, but it is there for us if we need it for a sense of confidence.
Does that make you appreciate where you guys are right now because of how hard it was to get to this point?
Yeah, for sure. I was talking to some of the guys that went through it when they beat VCU twice, and it was nothing against VCU, but they had to play Arkansas next. So it was almost like those two games. I don't think I remember them being close. I think they said they were both blowouts, and they had to turn around and go play Arkansas in a super regional. So not that they weren't prepared for it, but playing games like this against a good team like LSU, it's almost like, okay, like we played a team that is right up there with West Virginia, even though they're not ranked right there. So it's like, okay, this is nothing new to us. It's just another game that we've been through.
In terms of the celebration the other night after Vance catches the ball and the relief does come over you, like, what was the coolest moment about celebrating either out there on the field or back here in the clubhouse, or even, I don't know, maybe a message you got when you checked your phone? Just like, what was the coolest sort of moment of the aftermath?
Well, for me, I mean, running and meeting Vance and Anthony was, because we've done that a ton of times this year just through regular games, but that one was a little bit more special because I feel like it got to a point where we were just winning so consistently at home. It just seemed like, all right, we won. Here we go. Let's meet center field and run back in the dugout. Like, it just became normal. But that one was like, wow, yeah, that was really fun. And then I think my favorite part about the whole thing was going to see Johnny and Alex Madera and Colby after the game. Just telling them how cool that was to see them come through in that situation. And Johnny's my roommate. He's one of my best friends. So I think giving Johnny a hug after that game was one of my favorite parts of that whole thing.
Casey, you guys have been in this position before. West Virginia hasn't. Do you think that's an advantage for you guys at all?
No. I would say, they're driven too. That's a factor for them. They haven't been here before, so they want to take the even further step and go to Omaha. So I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't take them lightly at all and say that we have the upper hand in any way. But I guess you could say, me personally, I haven't been here before. Some guys have been in a super regional. So, I mean, being there for a second time, maybe it helps a little bit just knowing you've been there. But at the same time, we all just experienced a really tough regional. So I don't think this will be any different than that. And now we're just going to treat it like we did the regional.
Casey, top of the lineup maybe didn't have the best weekend. How are you using that Nick Saban process-oriented approach going into the Super?
Yeah, we were talking about that today. Parks and I think, combined for a whopping 0 ribbies this whole week. And we said, like, we don't think our at-bats were that bad. They really weren't. We lined out a ton. We didn't have many runners in scoring position. We had a few opportunities, but I think that's a credit to our team, because if you can get it done without the top of your order coming through, then you're in a really good spot, because then when they do start coming through, you're firing on all cylinders. So I would say I don't really think that's happened the whole year, and it's honestly good to see, because Parks and I, we felt really good about our bats. We still feel confident as ever, and we just said if we can get it done like that, we're gonna come out firing next week, this weekend, I guess, tomorrow, and it's gonna be fun to watch.
When you're in one of those spots, do you make any changes? Because you're on an 8-game hit streak, but no RBI since the ACC tournament.
No, I mean, that's not something you should ever, me personally, I don't like worrying about who's on base, because it shouldn't change your at-bat. It's just another at-bat, and the second you start putting pressure on yourself driving in runs, the more you're going to get tight. So what I did what I've been doing all year, just treat it like a normal at-bat, and I didn't happen to hit anyone in. So nothing's going to change, and I'm not worried about that at all.
When you see Gavin, Alex and Kobe producing like they did last week, how does that help the confidence of the top of the lineup when the bottom of the order is, producing like they were?
Yeah, it helps the time. It takes a lot of pressure. You don't feel like you have to do it all. You have trust, and we've always had trust in those guys. And the RBI numbers might not be there throughout the whole year compared to some of the other guys on our team, but that doesn't give us any less confidence at any point in the game that they can't come through, and that just, like I said, that takes a ton of pressure off the whole team, because it's a collective effort, and those are the teams that make it the furthest, because there's no dead spot in your order. Anyone can come through, and I think that was why it was so fun to see those guys come through, because that just shows everyone that anyone on our team can beat you. So, thank you.
Could you?
Shay, he was saying that Clark reminds him of you. Have you seen that, and how do you see that comparison?
Yeah, they were saying that the past couple days, and I honestly saw a video on Twitter, and I think it's pretty uncanny. We're right the same velo. I mean, he's got a hell of a changeup. Spins it a little bit. So Casey was like, what would your approach be if I was pitching? he was giving him some pointers, but it's pretty funny how we kind of mirror each other in that way.
How the guys doing at you in the fall?
Oh, I mean, they're probably better off on set. They lit me up. Lit me up like a Christmas tree.
Shea, what does it mean to you to get the ball in game 1 of the Super Regional here at the Bosch?
Yeah, it's an incredible opportunity. I mean, it's everything you work for. I've been pretty spoiled my last couple starts. I mean, going back to Charlotte against Chase Burns, the main event out there, and then last week and obviously against LSU on Saturday. So just another game. I mean, but it means the world that these guys get the confidence in me to go out there and help them win.
What is it about? What has it been about those settings? Like the electricity of Charlotte,
Right.
and here too. Last weekend, obviously against Holman, that can be beneficial in a spot like tomorrow night. I mean, you know, they're kind of extraordinary type of deals.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like just a special type of energy that obviously you don't get every weekend, and I think if you can like harness that and use it to your advantage, like let it fire you up, but you can't let it intimidate you, and which I think I've done a pretty good job of. I mean, in Charlotte, I'll say that like before the game, I was like, oh wow, like this is incredible. But I think it certainly helped me for last weekend with the loud fans. But yeah, like I said, I think you just have to tap into it and let it boost you and give you another gear.
Shea, you've been in pressure Saturday spots and Sunday spots. Does this feel any different?
No, just going out there trying to win another ball game, help the boys win.
What does it mean to you when you see the TV numbers coming in from Saturday's game against LSU and Monday's game against LSU, the 2 highest rated NCAA regional games in ESPN history?
So cool. So cool. I know when I was pitching on Saturday, there was a bunch of people at home, like just at like bars in my hometown, just like sending me pictures. People coming out of the woodwork sending you photos. Oh, look at Shea go. So it's pretty funny, but it's awesome. It's incredible. Those are incredible games too. So I'm not surprised that probably people tuned in the 3rd, 4th inning. So
They usually do that for Patriots right up there.
Oh yeah.
As opposed to college baseball.
Oh yeah. Patriots, Carolina baseball, same thing, right?
Okay.
Shea, how do you let those big moments give you energy but not intimidate you? Is there a mantra you have? Anything in specific you do?
Not really. I think a big part of it when you're pitching in front of such a crowd is like just like recognizing and embracing it. Like, you can't run from the fact. So like I know I usually go out there, like I'll just take a look around, take it in for a second, and then you're just playing the game at the end of the day. So just going at it and embracing it.
How much importance do you put into kind of getting some length tomorrow for your bullpen, or is it more of just kind of a batter by batter approach?
I think it could go both ways. I think the biggest thing is just going out and competing and putting up zeros and setting the tone from the jump. It would be incredible to throw a complete game, but I think it'll certainly help us tomorrow, but I think at the same time, you just want to, like, I'm not worried about throwing 8 innings. I'm worried about getting the first guy out. So, yeah, I think it's just going pitch by pitch, batter by batter. And if you happen to throw 8 innings, you happen to throw 8 innings. But if you happen to go 4 1/3 like last week, you go 4 1/3.
Before the Duke series to close the regular season, Coach Forbes said he challenged you guys to think of it as a super regional that series, and you guys ended up winning 2 out of 3. How helpful has that mentality been approaching this week, approaching Virginia?
Yeah, I mean, going back to even like February when we were playing East Carolina, like you have to show up and play every game like it's going to be the last because you don't really know. But I know after Friday over there at Duke, like Coach Forbes just challenged us, like, you don't know when the last game's going to be, so let's just keep firing now. And we eventually won that series and then got a little momentum going forward.
In terms of studying West Virginia and getting prepared for them, what are, for you, the most important things to look at, the video that you watch? Like, what do you really try to dig into that's important for your game?
I think it's more so just like I keep getting better as opposed to like them from a week-to-week basis. But I know me, Coach Gaines, and Parker had a good week. Me and Coach Gaines went over some things and tightened some things up going into this weekend. But yeah, I think it's more so just focusing on us than them.
Do you have any specific metrics that you like to look at for yourself?
Not really. I like the velo a little bit since I never really threw hard before. But not that I throw hard now, but
I think you hit 91 the other day.
yeah, a little quicker than 84. I'll tell you that.
Does your preparation change at all with the one less day of rest for this week?
Nothing really changes. I'll change one of my lifts from, usually it's lower body, upper body, and then we'll just do lower body and total body. But that's really the only thing.
What was the name of the bar? We'll give them a little pub in the story.
Brothers Bar and Grill.
In
Hanover, Massachusetts.
Okay, Hanover. All right, Brothers Bar and Grill.
Oh yeah.
What's it like preparing for a hitter like J.K. Witherhold? And kind of what have you seen from him? And how are you kind of approaching that challenge?
Like I said earlier, you just got to embrace it. I mean, we've thrown against good hitters all season. Witherhold's obviously an incredible player, getting a lot of hype, and I think once he steps in the box, you kind of just got to go right at him. I mean, you can't be intimidated or afraid. It's playing baseball at the end of the day, but you do, in a sense, have to respect him because he is an incredible player. But it's not going to change much for me.
When you're this close to Omaha, 2 wins away, like how does that factor in what you think about in terms of your motivation? You try to keep it in check, or you try to let it maybe even fuel you more? Like, just how do you approach how close you are?
Yeah, no, I think you definitely let it fuel you more. Like Coach Forbes said last week, like it's not just another game, and you have to recognize that and embrace it. And I think it does. It definitely does give you another like extra motivation, like a little sense of urgency, I guess. But yeah, you just got to embrace it and enjoy the moment.
One more, if any. Thanks, Shay.
Shay, are you watching the Celtics tonight?
Oh yeah, game 1.